Well, it occurred to me that today should be the first day of me filming another week vlog of my road life. My brain is kind of mushy right now because it was really, really hot today. And I made a series of bad choices wherein I decided to drive to an even hotter area than the one I was in. I started this morning in Boise at my friend's house where I had been for the last 2 nights, which was great. I was able to do laundry and charge my battery and take a shower, buy groceries, just kind of have a reset day. And we also floated the Boise River, and he let me use his pack raft, which was super fun. Definitely gonna or want to try to get one of those. Anyway, I first went to McCall because I had been there once in the winter years ago, and I remember really liking it. And so I was like, yeah, let's go check it out. And of course, it's Labor Day weekend, and it was just like a madhouse. And I did not want to be there at all. There was way too many people. I ate a sandwich in my truck in a busy parking lot and then left immediately. And then I'm slowly working my way toward Joseph, which has also been on my list for a long time. I've also always wanted to check out Hell's Canyon and have been told that is really hot here. Spoiler alert, I'm here right now. But I decided to come anyway. And I was like, oh, I could drive through there on my way to Joseph. Well, turns out you can't actually drive the whole way. Yeah, I probably should have known that. It was hard to tell on the map. I have a pretty good atlas, but it showed campgrounds further up the valley. And so I was like, oh, you must be able to drive there. And then I realized later when I took a closer look at the key that they're primitive campgrounds for people who are rafting the river. So I drove all the way down to the dam at the end and checked it out for a little bit. It's really beautiful down here, but it was super hot, and the canyon is just really trapping the heat also. So even though the sun has sort of gone down and starting to cool off, it's still baking. But the good news is that I found a dispersed site, I think. I'm not totally sure that it's legit, but there's also nobody down here. So I feel like I can get away with it for the night. Hopefully I won't get the knock for the first time. But yeah, I'm right on the water in a pullout, and there's a fire ring here, so it seems like people have camped here before. Anyway, yeah, hopefully this will be a cool spot for the night, and I can imagine that it will be really super beautiful in the morning to get up and enjoy a cup of coffee before I leave. I'm gonna have to backtrack a lot of the driving that I did today to get out of here and go over more toward Joseph, but I have always wanted to see this, and I am not disappointed, but I will definitely put the Hell's Canyon raft trip on my bucket list, because the area where it turns into the wild and scenic part of the river past the dam, it just looks incredible, and I would love to see it and experience that, being in the water. So anyway, this is the kickoff of week 5 vlog, and that's all I got for now. I'm gonna try to keep this short and sweet because I am trying to get out of here before it gets hot again. But There's big fish jumping in the background. I don't know if you can hear it. We didn't get kicked out last night. Everything was fine, except I slept really, really horribly because it took forever to cool down, and it only ever cooled down to like 75 degrees. Like when I went to bed, it was 80 degrees inside the camper. And so I slept pretty terribly, but I did manage to get an hour or two here and there of like actual sleep. So probably gonna need a nap later today, and not taking a leisurely morning here in the canyon because like I said, it's gonna warm up quick, and also there's some kind of little fly that is biting Emmy and driving her crazy. So she is like already in the cab of the truck. She was like, I don't want to be here anymore. So not bummed that I came. I was able to get Starlink up and running and upload my second YouTube video. So that is up if you haven't seen it yet. It's the kitchen tour. And that also allowed me to like download an audiobook for today and get directions for the next spot that I'm going. So hopefully today will be a little shorter and more chill, and we'll see how it goes.
By late 1968, I had two opposing mistresses, grizzly bears in the northern Rockies and the desert Southwest.
Well, today has not been entirely as chill as I had hoped. We drove into Joseph, and the drive this morning was really nice. There was still shade, and there weren't a lot of people out, and I was just like driving, drinking coffee, listening to my podcast, beautiful nature. And then we drove into Joseph, Oregon. Emmy was with me. I was driving. And poked around town for a couple hours, and that was fun. And then by the time we were done with that, it was like lunchtime, and decided to go to Terminal Gravity Brewery and Enterprise. And that was nice too, but the day was just like really heating up, and I just don't function in the heat very well, like mentally, physically, emotionally. It's hard for me to regulate when I'm hot. I was looking at campgrounds and maps and stuff while I was there, trying to figure out where to go tonight, and I kind of got an idea of where I wanted to go. And first I decided I needed to get ice for my fridge to sort of have it keep its temp. And everybody was like sold out of ice, I guess because it's a small town and it's like Labor Day weekend and it's been really hot. No one had ice. So I drove around to a bunch of different places. Finally found a place. Great. While I was in the back of the truck putting the ice in the cooler, a big truck backed into me, and I like felt the whole truck like jerk or jolt or whatever. And I was like, what the hell? I thought somebody had just run into my like spare tire rack, because I had that like pulled out and it kind of bounced when the impact happened. And then when I got out, the clerk at the market was like, yo, that person just hit you, and he pointed out a place on the body near the taillight where there was like a dent that wasn't there before. And I tried to flag the person down, but they didn't see me. They seemed kind of oblivious in general. I was like trying to figure out what to do. I was waiting on hold with my insurance company to see if I had like hit and run coverage. But then I realized that it probably wouldn't be more than like my deductible anyway. And Also, it's pretty superficial. Like, it's not going to affect the functionality of the truck at all. And it's not like the body is like totally pristine in other regards. But while I was trying to figure out that, the cashier came out and was like, hey, that lady paid with a check. I have her info on the check. And I was like, oh, for real? And he was like, yeah, I'll give it to you if you want. And I was like, I don't know, that seems dramatic. And then the other guy that worked there was like, dude, I would call her. Like, she fucking hit your truck. So I phoned this person and I kind of explained what had gone on. And she like totally denied it. She was like, I don't know what to tell you, honey. Like, I didn't hit you. And I was like, okay, well, I felt it. And like, were you just here? And she was like, yeah, I was there. And I was like, well, there's witnesses and I felt it and there's a dent there and whatever. Like, I didn't want to argue with an octogenarian from a small town in Oregon. And so I decided to just let it go. Like, if she had been receptive, maybe I would have coordinated with her and tried to get it fixed, but I just decided that it wasn't worth the effort. And so I drove up this Forest Service road to this campsite that I thought looked like it might be good. It's fine. It's free with my interagency, like America the Beautiful pass. And some clouds kind of rolled in and made it a little bit less hot. And I was hoping that I could swim in the creek here. It's not really, it's kind of too shallow and fast to swim. I kind of like dunked body parts in it when I first got here. And that helped a little bit. And now I have, because I had ice in the cooler, I was able to put ice in my margarita. So that's helping. And I'm hoping that I can drum up the energy to make the portobello mushroom fajitas that I got stuffed to make for dinner. Because that would be nice. And that would go well with a margarita. And part of the reason I wanted to stay in this area is there's this store that I wanted to check out in Enterprise tomorrow, or in general, and they're not open today. I don't know if it's because it's Monday or because it's Labor Day, but I'm hoping they'll be open tomorrow, and I can go check that out. And then I'm slowly working my way toward Bend. This week's vlog might be a little bit like shorter or more boring because I found a shop in Bend that's going to wire my battery into the alternator. So that's happening on Thursday, and today's Monday. So I just have a couple more nights, tonight and tomorrow night really, to figure out where to be. And then Wednesday night I'm staying with friends in Bend. And then after that I'm headed toward like Portland and the coast. So my environment will change a bit. Hopefully my circumstances will change a bit, and the battery will charge while I'm driving. And then you guys can stop hearing me yap about battery stuff. And I can't remember if I said this in another video or not, but one of the friends I'm visiting on the Oregon coast has my awning. So I will have power, I will have shade, things will be better. Stuff to look forward to after a hard couple days. I was realizing that one of the reasons that I just was feeling really dysregulated was I just felt really disgusting after like 2 really hot and sweaty days. And I was like, maybe tomorrow I just get a hotel room so I can shower and whatever. But I know that Wednesday night, excuse me, I'm staying with my friends in Bend. And I'll be able to take a hot shower there. And I would rather save my hotel splurge for like when I really, really need it, you know? Because I don't have like unlimited budget. So I gave myself a sponge bath in the truck. And I actually feel a lot better. I just heated up a little bit of water in my jet boil and put the warm water in one of my enamelware bowls and got out one of my microfiber cloths that I usually use for cleaning, not my body. And I just worked my way down, like starting with my face to, you know, the progressively dirtier parts of my body. Yeah, I just feel better. And I feel like proud of myself for being resilient and like coming up with a good solution to my sensory bummer that doesn't involve me like blowing my budget and spending a bunch of money on a hotel that might not even be that enjoyable. So hopefully I can get some good sleep. I think I'm the only person staying at this campground tonight. So I think it'll be really quiet. And tomorrow is a new day. Okay, quick update before I head into town. I did indeed sleep quite well and was the only person camped at this whole campground. There's some cars like parked at the trailhead, but I think those people are backpacking. So they're right on the edge of I think it's the Eagle Cap Wilderness, which if my knee wasn't messed up, I would be all up in because it looks amazing. And definitely gonna have to come back when I am more hike capable. But yeah, feeling a little bit better after some sleep. It's also because we're down in sort of like a little canyon. It has been really cool this morning. It actually got a little bit cold last night, which felt so nice in comparison to the heat wave that we've been having here. So I got up and made coffee and had breakfast, and now I'm gonna just like pack everything up and head into town and check out that store that I was hoping to see, and then figure it out from there. Well, I am in Central Oregon, like 40 miles north of John Day, and it is hotter than the devil's butthole out here. And I am slightly regretting my decision to not drive to Pendleton and stay at a cute hotel that I saw there that had a pool. I almost bought a room. Like, I had it queued up and everything, and then I was like, no, you can do this. And so there was this like fork in the road, and I took the left fork toward the desert for some god-awful reason. It has been really pretty. It's just been super hot and kind of smoky. One of the reasons I decided to come down here is because it looked like the air quality was better. But it's still pretty hazy. Anyway, I'm pulled over on the side of the road. I like poured some water on my head and feet and tried to cool Emmy down. Also, I feel like I look as disgusting as I feel. I was hoping to find somewhere to swim, but it's like the end of the summer and all the streams are really, really low. So anyway, I'm gonna keep going and see what happens. I need to get more ice for the cooler because it's pretty much almost melted. It looks like there's an RV park in John Day that might be worth staying at. They have like showers and power and stuff like that. But I might just try to find a store with some ice and then disperse camp again. I don't know. It's kind of crazy to like just take off and have no idea where you're going to sleep that night. It's fun too and exciting. But yeah. Anyway, my truck AC is just not really keeping up with the heat and the sun. We're like driving directly into the sun, and so it just feels like being in a mobile greenhouse or something like that. It's really not fun. I don't know if I need to get my AC fixed or if it's just an old truck and that is what it is, but it's not pleasant. But I will say I am grateful to have AC at all. Some of my friends with older trucks like don't even have it at all, which seems miserable. And I was hoping that the last store that I stopped at would have ice and I could just find somewhere in the shade to just like wait out the hotter part of the day. But it's kind of hot even in the shade, honestly. Anyway, there's a town in like 20 more miles, and then I'm sure at least in John Day I could find somewhere that has ice, and we'll just figure it out. Well, I made an executive decision and paid for a campsite in Mount Vernon, Oregon. I drove to John Day and got gas and got ice and put it in the cooler and went to a little city park that was there to like cool down a little bit and screw my head on right to make a decision. And it was like around 5 p.m. and it was still very hot in the sun and kind of in the shade too, honestly. And there's like a good bit of dispersed camping around here, but most of it was sort of like out of the way of the direction that I want to drive tomorrow. And also like it's kind of like sagebrush country. Like there's not a whole lot of shade. There is this state park that I had passed on the way in called Clyde Holiday, and Overlander said that it was $26 a night for power, and I was like, shade and power for $26, that sounds fine with me. So, and it was only like 10-minute drive from where I was. Ice water is saving me right now. And then when I got here, I saw that it was $42 for non-residents, which is a little bit steep. But I also saw that they had free showers. And at that point, I had kind of made up my mind already that this is where I was going to stay. And I just happened to have like almost exactly $42 in my wallet. So I decided that this is where I would stay for the night. And it's pretty close to the highway, but it's like a Tuesday and it's super quiet. There's not anyone camped like close to me at all, at least so far. And it's right on the John Day River, and Yeah, so I can take a shower and I can just make my dinner, reheat my leftovers from last night, and not have to worry about what I'm gonna do or where I'm gonna be. Normally I wouldn't be wanting to pay that much for a campsite, but the fact that it has power and showers and shade kind of was like a triple whammy. Yeah, so I popped up the camper and I'm letting it air out and cool down, and gonna probably finish watching Untamed tonight because I'm pretty hooked on the storyline. I don't know how adventurous this feels. I feel like self-conscious, I guess, that this is like my road life vlog. Just driving around figuring out where to sleep. But there have been some highlights, and I know it will continue to improve the more that I get the hang of things. And also summer is ending and it won't be quite as hot. I guess you'll probably get a lot of opposite complaining when it gets cold, that I'm cold and I'm trying to figure out how to stay warm, but we'll save that for November and December, hopefully. Good morning. Good morning.
Headed to White Bear. That was my deal. I had agreed to accompany a beluga whale expedition to it.
So I didn't film at all when I was in Bend, mostly because I was busy and or hanging out with friends and didn't feel like filming. I thought about, taking a couple of photos or quick videos inside the shop that my truck was getting worked on, but I didn't want to ask, and I didn't want to film without asking. So you're just going to have to imagine it. It didn't go as smoothly as planned, but I do have my car battery wired up to my Goal Zero battery through a DC to DC inverter now. For whatever reason, it's not behaving in the way that it should. Probably be because Goal Zero likes to make all their stuff super proprietary and not play very well with other systems. But that's the battery that I had, and I really do like the interface of it and how it's all just contained in the one unit. So we did our best to make it work. I don't necessarily need to go into all the details, but basically we had a really hard time getting it to charge as well as it could or should, and then also turn off when it was supposed to, so that it didn't drain my car battery and leave me stranded somewhere. If y'all are interested in the nitty-gritty details of that, I can make another video about my power system. So let me know if you want to know all the details, but I won't bore you with them if that's not something that you are interested in. And I do want to give a shout out to Fit Garage and Bend, because from what I could tell, they did everything right, and for whatever reason, it wasn't working in a way that didn't make sense. And the owner of the shop, Alex, put in a lot of free labor to try to figure it out for me, and even came in on his day off, and didn't charge me for a good portion of the time that he worked on it trying to fix it. So, and the wiring is all clean. It looks great. I just need to play around with the settings in the app a little bit more to figure out how to make it work better long term, I think. If anybody knows any like Goal Zero wizards out there and wants to hook me up with them, please do so, because right now I'm just manually turning it on and off in the app while I'm driving, which works okay, but if I ever forget to turn it off when I get to camp, then I'm going to be SOL. I will say that my friends that I stayed with let me stay a second night in Bend, and I was able to get some work done and shower and like have a comfy, safe place to stay. So that was really, really cool. And they also live like right across the street basically from one of my favorite restaurants, or my favorite restaurant in Bend. And so I got to eat there a couple times, which was pretty nice. And yeah, today I drove out into the forest on the Mackenzie River and found a quiet little spot on a Forest Service road. Tomorrow I'll drive into Eugene and meet a friend, and then head out to the coast and hang out with some friends out there. Probably it'll be my week off from vlogging, so you won't get to see a lot of that, but maybe I'll share some highlights on my Instagram. It's been super hot and really smoky from wildfires, so I'm pretty excited to get out to the coast where it will be cool and clear and have some good downtime with my friends. I am curious if the style of vlogging that I've been doing is like working for y'all, if there's anything that I'm not showing that you want to see, or anything that I'm showing too much of that is boring. I want to get better at like filming more and like talking at you less, but I also think like, or I have heard that like hearing a little bit about my thinking and process, it has been interesting to some people. So I'm sure that like the style will continue to evolve the more that I get used to filming and creating videos to share. It is hot and sweaty here tonight. I hope it will cool down, but I have enough battery to run my fans, and hopefully that'll help. And then tomorrow I get the ocean and a shower, and I feel like this has been the longest week ever. Yeah, editing this is going to be interesting because I like don't even remember like what I was doing a week ago.
Isn't telling me that I'm really good or like you're amazing.